Morning everyone, Mr. Parry here. Monday morning with your English lesson, carrying on where we left off on Friday. First of all, apologies about the problems you may have had with the video on Friday. That is all fixed now. So if you didn't manage to watch that video and do that piece of work, you need to do that before you do this lesson, because this lesson carries on that one. Okay, so if you haven't, stop this video now, go back and find Fridays, do Friday's work, and then come back and do this one. Okay, so once you've done Friday's lesson, we'll start with today's flashback. Here is a very short and simple sentence. The wizard granted the boy 3 wishes. I would like you in your book to improve that sentence any way you like to. You may add words, you may add an expanded noun phrase, you may add different clauses, you might want to put a prepositional phrase in there, you may want to change some of the adjectives, add things, whichever way you do, but just one sentence, make that sentence better, write it in your book. So stop, pause the video now, write that in your book, and when you've done, we'll carry on to the next part of the lesson. Okay, well done. I'll be interested to see what you've come up with and what tricks you've used to improve that sentence. So when you've finished all the work, take those photographs, send them on to Class Dojo, and I'll have a look at them later on. Okay, moving on, the next thing I would like you to do is a reactivate. I would like you to do an alphabet reactivate. So I would like you, on a clean page in your book, down the left-hand side of your book, write the 26 letters of the alphabet. And when you have, see if you can think of an adjective and a noun that start with each letter. And then if you want to be really clever, for some of them, see if you can add a prepositional phrase to make one of those expanded noun phrases. So, for example, for A, I could come up with angry at. For D, and this one's for you, Saeed, I could come up with dangerous dinosaur. And then if I wanted to show off, I could add that extra bit, a dangerous dinosaur with razor sharp teeth. And for H, one of our favorite adjectives, a hideous house, both for H and a prepositional phrase in a faraway town. So it makes our expanded noun phrase, hideous house in a faraway town. So there's 3 for you. I'll leave you with 23 others to see if you can find. Some of them will be very hard, maybe not even possible, but see how many you can do. So pause the video now, write down the alphabet down the left-hand side, do an adjective starting with each letter, do a noun starting with each letter, and then for some, add a prepositional phrase to make an expanded noun phrase. Okay? Have a go at that, and again, I look forward to seeing the photographs of your attempts. Well done. Okay, let's move on. So we're moving on back to our story. So our story, the 3 Wishes tale of the woodcutter who meets the wood nymph in the forest, and she rewards him for not chopping down her tree with 3 wishes, but he makes a mess of the 3 wishes and ends up with a stake hanging from the end of his nose. That's our story. We're writing our own version. So hopefully on Friday or earlier today, you have written the opening to your story where your main character and your setting are introduced. So today we move on to part 2 of the story, the build-up phase. And in the build-up, the main character, so in our story, the woodcutter, goes on a journey. He goes into the wood. He finds a magic being. In our story, he finds a nymph. And that magic being grants him 3 wishes. So let's have a look at the part of the story we're talking about. Okay, it's quite a long part of the story, so I'll read it through. You follow it, and then have a go at reading it yourself. One day, when the man was out searching for just the right trees to cut down, he found a great old oak. The enchanted twisted tree in the very center of the ancient woodland was the largest the woodcutter had ever seen. He was convinced it would bring in enough money to buy him and his wife enough food to sustain them for a week. Just as the woodcutter was about to swing his axe, he heard a voice calling from above. "Please stop what you are doing," it said. When the woodcutter looked up, he saw a wood nymph. The tiny, delicate nymph with paper-like wings and eyes that shone as bright as the brightest star looked back at him. The man, who had never seen a nymph before, was really surprised. The nymph pleaded with the man to leave the oak tree alone. "It is my home," it said passionately, "one I have taken care of for over a century." "I will leave your tree alone," replied the woodcutter. "Although I am very poor, I do not want to destroy your home." "Thank you so much," said the wood nymph, who was full of gratitude. "In return for leaving my tree alone, I will grant you 3 wishes." So that's the build-up to the story. The main character goes on a journey, finds a magic being that will grant him 3 wishes. So he goes on a journey. It's a short journey in this story. He just goes in looking for the right trees in his woodland. And as part of his journey, he finds the enchanted twisted tree in the very center. And that's a very good example of some lovely description. The enchanted twisted tree in the very center of the ancient woodland. And another good example of description we include is the tiny delicate nymph with paper-like wings and eyes that shone as bright as the brightest star. So when we met the tree for the first time, as an important part of the story, we describe it. When we met the nymph for the first time, another important part of the story, we describe it. So there's our journey, there's our description of the tree and the nymph. Then there's the dialogue, which we've been practicing our speech. Please stop what you are doing. It is my home, one I have taken care of for over a century. I will leave your tree alone. Although I am very poor, I do not want to destroy your tree. Thank you so much. In return for leaving my tree alone, I will grant you 3 wishes. So you see the nymph starts the conversation with please stop what you are doing, it is my home. The woodcutter then answers, I will leave your tree alone. And then the nymph replies, thank you so much, I will grant you 3 wishes. So they have a conversation, and that's shown using those 5 rules of punctuation that we did on Friday, that we did before. We're using those inverted commas. So in the build-up, when you meet your magic being, you need to have some dialogue. There has to be some kindness. So the woodcutter is kind. The nymph asks to leave the tree alone, and the woodcutter says, I will not destroy your tree. So the woodcutter shows the nymph some kindness, and because of that, the nymph, the magic being, gives the woodcutter a reward of 3 wishes. Okay, so that's how the build-up break works. Today, I want you to write the build-up of your story. So you take your character that you started on Friday, you take them on a journey to find something. I always remember the woodcutter's journeys into the forest to find the enchanted twisted tree. Include some description of the thing they find. That's both the place and the magic being. When they meet the magic being, the nymph, in our case, but yours might be different. It doesn't have to be a nymph, it could be a different sort of magic being. When they do, have some dialogue, have a conversation, which ends up with your character, like the woodcutter, showing some kindness. And because of that kindness, your magic being, like the nymph, gives your character a reward of 3 wishes. Okay? Good luck. Keep this one on your screen if you can, so you can keep looking back at it and use it as a model. And I really look forward to seeing your stories as they build up later on this morning. So have a go. Don't worry if it doesn't quite work out. Don't worry about the spellings and things like that. Have a go at getting the structure of the story right and the description. Those 5 words at the bottom: the journey, the description, the dialogue, the act of kindness, and the rewards. Okay, good luck. I look forward to seeing the stories, and I will be back tomorrow morning on Tuesday, where we'll do the next part of the story. Okay, I'll see you soon. Good luck. Bye.